It's Tokyo, Japan. It's first thing in the morning. It's the middle of this coronavirus situation, and that means that I am going live as I have done for the last 5 days, this being the 6th day, and I will continue to do so every morning for the duration of this situation. And I make a point of saying, I have made a point of saying at the start of every single one of these videos, and I will continue to make a point of saying it at the start of every single one of these videos, is that the YouTube contacted us content creators and said, you will not get monetized for doing coronavirus content. They say it's a public safety issue. It's something that we don't want to inflame or get people to just throw out content that doesn't actually match the situation and things like that. So the way that YouTube are securing against that is by not monetizing it and by not giving any sort of plus to the content creators. So as soon as I got that email, I thought, you know what, well then I will give you guys the authentic on the ground situation from Tokyo, Japan. What is it like right now here? Because there's an awful lot of media, there's an awful lot of propaganda, there's an awful lot of conspiracy theories out there of people talking about what it might be like or what it could be like. Well, what I do every morning is I show you what it is actually like here in Tokyo, Japan, and it's morning time. Every day I do it from the same spot. And I'm always keeping my eye out on this clock right here. I don't know if you can see the time on that clock there, but it says 7:40 in the morning, and it's Thursday morning here. I know if some people watching it'll probably still be Wednesday for you guys, so it's Thursday morning here, and I always do it from this spot because there are some really big advantages to doing it. I'm in a park, so you can see what people are up to in a park in the morning, and one of the things I like to do is I like to sort of stand right about here. And if these guys are here, it makes me feel pretty happy. That's a father and a son playing catch. And a lot of people who check in on my videos, we talk about those guys because they're there most mornings. And we feel like if those guys are there, then all is well with the world. If a father and a son can play catch in the park, then there can't be too much that's going wrong. There can't be too much to worry about out there. Now, of course, people are worried. One of the major stories here right now is school closures. It is 7:40 in the morning, like I said, and if you look over my left shoulder here, you can see this group of boys coming up here. That's probably what, six kids there. So good morning, Stephen. That's 6 kids there who would normally be getting ready for school right now, and look, off they go. I guess they're out doing some kind of training or something like that. So the effect of closing the schools and having nowhere for the kids to go to on their regular school days has had some interesting side effects, and so you've got a lot of different things going on. Another thing that I like about shooting this live from this park, so I can give that authentic view of what life is like here in Tokyo, Japan. Down here, I can see them gathering up as the Tai Chi people, the people who do Tai Chi first thing in the morning, as a part of their daily routine. Now, I've only ever seen one person doing it here, right there, these guys that are gathered right there. I've only ever seen one person doing that, but there's 4 people there today, so I wonder if they're increasing their numbers. Actually 5 people. So that's another advantage to shooting in this particular position in the park. And then another advantage is this right here. That's Tokyo Sky Tree, which is very central to Tokyo, and that gives you, the viewer, the kind of perspective of where I am in Tokyo and where I am in Japan, and that means that you can kind of trust that this live is from the center of Tokyo, where the mass of the population, 1/3 of Japan's population, lives in and around Tokyo. So if anything's gonna spread, it's going to spread here because that's really high concentration of population in a very small place. So again, you know that I'm in Tokyo, you know that I'm in Japan because of that right there. That's Tokyo Sky Tree. And then the final thing I like to do each morning, just to kind of give people that perspective of how normal life is here right now, of how life continues just pretty much like it has done for the last, 20 years here in Japan. There isn't that much change that's going on because of this coronavirus situation. Is I like to come over here. That right there is the Sumidagawa River, and then on the far side of it is the highway, and you can see the cars, trucks, buses, things like that moving along the highway there. There's a truck going by as I speak. Again, so you can see real life is happening. People are going about their daily business, getting ready for work in the morning. There's people down here on the side of the whoosh, there we go, on the side of the riverside there, going for a morning walk, walking their dogs, going for a cycle, going out for a jog and things like that. So very much, life is normal. People aren't shuttered away in their houses. The city hasn't shut down. Society hasn't ground to a halt. So Rawhides, morning, how you doing, man? I've been Rawhides has been a follower of my channel for a very long time. Thank you for dropping by. I don't know if you know this, Raw, but I've been doing these lives every morning for the last 6 days to give people a real perspective of what it's like here in Tokyo, Japan, rather than a media frenzy perspective or a propaganda perspective or a conspiracy theory perspective. It's just the reality of what it's like in Japan right now. So appreciate you dropping by and checking in on one of these guys. And I'm going to try and do this at this time every day, 7:30 in the morning Japan time. So if anybody out there is catching this after the live broadcast, then be sure to check in at 7:30 every day if you want that live kind of stream. Here's another thing we like to do. Look at that. Look at all those cars. I'm on top of a tunnel. There's a tunnel that runs through the park. No problem, man. I appreciate doing the first hand. So, and that's an intersection there, and I like to kind of shoot here so that people can see how many cars and taxis and buses and trucks and all that kind of stuff are busy getting ready for their day to start. It's now 7:45 in the morning, and people are getting ready to start their day and get their day going. So this is just it's just normal life. I think people have this image of people in absolute fear and panic, worried about oh my goodness, what if I catch this disease, oh what's going to happen to me and all that kind of stuff. But generally speaking, that isn't what's happening in daily life. People aren't really doing that. I mean, people are concerned about it. Of course they're concerned about it. Nobody wants to get sick, even if it is just a common cold, and the common cold is a kind of coronavirus. So that kind of helps people realize that it's not it's not quite the major deal. We'll flip around here. Rawhide's headed to dinner. Yeah, much love to you, man, and thanks for dropping by. Super appreciate it. That right there, that's my bicycle. And I will ride that bicycle up to a station over there about 10 minutes away, and I'll jump on a train. I'll change in 2 stations time, jump on another train, and then in about 6 stations time I'll go to work. And I have been doing that. And my work is in education, so with the kids not being allowed to come to school at the moment, it's really changed things up, but the teachers and staff are still coming in and stuff like that. So it's it has affected what's happening at work and things like that, but it hasn't really affected daily life. Like I said, that's my bicycle. I'll be heading on out later on and doing that. But people are, of course, concerned about the coronavirus and what's happening. I particularly this morning, one of my main concerns that came up was what's going on in Italy. I've often said I'm worried about what is happening in Iran, and I'm worried about what could happen in Africa. But today I'm worried about what's happening in Italy, because there was a really big spike in cases over the last 36 hours, both in terms of how many cases there have been and also how many fatalities there have been. And it's really spiked there. And I don't want to be too general. I'm not a huge fan of prejudice, obviously. I'm not a huge fan of people making generalizations about other people's cultures and other people's societies and things like that, or even my own culture and society. But there is a sort of culture in this area of Asia, and I'm talking about China and Korea and Japan and Taiwan, that kind of area of Asia, where people tend to work better than other places at protecting society as a whole. And they're better at saying, okay, we need to do this because it's going to have an effect on the whole of society. So moving as a herd or moving as a group or following the directions or instructions of what you should do as a group, it works quite well in this part of the world. Morning, Mo. Appreciate you being here. I was just talking about how out here in Japan, people often successfully work as a group and move as a group. And so we're able to see countries like Japan sort of fairly effectively shut down parts of the country or take effective measures and say to people, please don't go to large group events, and people generally stop going to large group events. Whereas in European people are less likely to follow instructions. In fact, people are maybe more likely to ignore instructions. Oh, you think you can tell me what to do? Well, I'll show you. And that kind I honestly don't know if you guys can see what's going on right now. The live clock has stopped ticking. No, that's really irritating. I don't want to stop streaming. I don't know if I'm streaming right now or not, but the live clock has stopped ticking over and I can't see anything. I think I have to stop the stream and try